course, we'll use it as a discrete processor, okay, a discrete modem. There's Qualcomm, there is Renesas, there's ST Ericsson, and Infineon behind that. So we will work with all of the modem manufacturers for LTE. And as you know, everybody is, of course, running for LTE. Second half this year, I think you will have Tegra 3 with LTE modems for the LTE markets. However, there are many non-LTE markets, as you know. And although in the LTE markets, the next upgrade is LTE, for all of the other markets, the next upgrade is quad-core. Because dual core is last year, what is the new thing? The new thing is quad-core. So this year is quad-core, 720p, of course thinner, lighter, right? And so all kinds of exciting things. We are well ahead of Qualcomm on quad-core. I have 4 partners I can go to for LTE. They have to get quad-core done themselves. Okay? And so we have a great quad-core solution now, and we can address China, we can address all of Europe, we can address Latin America. There's all kinds of markets where quad-core is going to be the next important upgrade. So in the first half, we will focus on quad-core. In the second half of this year, we'll focus on quad-core plus LTE. And then, of course, the next half, okay, 2013, will be NVIDIA's own singular integrated processor. All right? So that's the first question. The second question has to do with how do we succeed partnering with Samsung and LG. LG is a much easier answer, and the reason for that is because LG, their strategy is to make devices and partner with processor companies. Samsung, on the other hand, is to make devices, but also compete with processor companies like ourselves. Samsung is one of our most severe competitors, and so I think that long term, the entire industry will find that Samsung is a competitor. Samsung is a competitor in every component. And so this is a great company, a great competitor, and sometimes a good partner, but always a competitor. And so that's the fact of life, and it's okay. It's always good to know what kind of relationship you have with someone, just so you know, right?
Just one unfortunate thing is that this show, I mean CES 2012, did you visit the booth LG Electronics?
No, I haven't. I've only been in one booth.
NVIDIA.
You have to go. You have to go.
My team gives me no time.
You have to go LG because LG Google TV has a LG own processor, L chip, named L chip. So LG would be or could be LG would be a competitor with NVIDIA too.
It's possible, and it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I think you know, sometimes there are models where vertical integration is better. Sometimes it's better to be horizontal. Okay, and it comes and goes. It comes and goes. And so we are comfortable working with people, working with customers who are vertically integrated. I'm very comfortable with that. For example, Apple is one of my largest customers, and one of my best customers, and one of my dearest friends. And notice, I compete with them. It's okay. They know that. I know that. See, that's why it's good to know the relationship. We can be friends, and we can be competitors, but we should not be mean to each other. It's not personal. It's business. And in the competition, we're building great things for the world. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. But I always like you.
Hi, I'm Daniel from Argentina. What do you think about the interconnection of the devices? I see a real problem in this. Interconnection with the smartphones and smart TVs and tablets.
Oh yeah. It's a real problem, and it's a real opportunity. right? In the future, everything will be high def, yeah? Would you agree? 1080p, 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 everything's high def, right? That's easy, completely easy. Everything will be high def, okay? What I'm looking at on my cell phone, if I want to share with you, it's a, right? And you want to share with me, you just fling it. That will be solved, yeah? If you and I can talk about it like this and everybody goes, yep, 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 that means it's been solved. It just hasn't been rolled out into the world. The technology must have been solved. It's solved. Don't even, I think at this point, this is how exciting it's going to be. In the future, hey, let me show you this. Hey, look at my website. Right? And it shows up on your phone. The application didn't show up on your phone. What I'm looking at showed up on your phone, and when you're done looking at it, it's gone. It's perfectly secure. And so I think this is it's a wonderful opportunity that you described, and I think it's going to be a wonderful experience that we can create. The technology that we need for this is moments from being finished.
So, my name is Kazuki. So, I want to know progression of Denver project. So last year you mentioned about the Denver, so it's a big project for NVIDIA.
Yeah.
So I think last year, so supercomputing 11, so you have some announcement on CUDA on ARM architecture. So I mean, yeah, I think one progress maybe. So could you tell us your progression for Denver?
We announced Denver this time last year. And the reason we announced it was because there was so much rumors about it, number one. Number two, because we entered into a partnership with ARM to develop the first version of V8, the 64-bit version of ARM, it was impossible to keep that as a secret. And so instead of reacting to the news, I decided to get ahead of the news and announced it. It's not that we have to ship. V8 is still in development. We have hundreds of people working on V8. They have many people working on V8. And our job is to create the world's first 64-bit ARM processor and to extend the ARM architecture into the spaces where performance matters, but energy efficiency is still extremely important. And so servers, supercomputers, and next generation notebooks and tablets and so on. And so that particular segment could use a lot more performance, and that's the reason why we're putting Denver. Denver's time to market is next year-ish, and so that's not we're not ready to. We don't have a product to announce yet. We just want to announce the development of the processor, the partnership with ARM, and also get ahead of the news. There's so much rumors. Is Denver x86 or is Denver, a lot of people thought Denver was x86. And when I came out and I said Denver is ARM, everybody said, what? Now everybody says, wow. Right? Instead of building the world's last x86 processor, we decided to build the world's first 64-bit ARM.
So Denver is coming to not only supercomputing side but also tablet, regular side.
Yeah, it will span as much of our market as possible, and it's any market where ARM as an instruction set is preferred, high performance is necessary, and energy efficiency is extremely important.
Hi, my name is Dante Alejandro from Mexico.
Hi, Dante.
Thank you. NVIDIA rises with the GeForce and always been a industry of GPUs. And in this moment, they always are going to forward. And in this moment, the mobile computing is the fact. So, what's the GPUs going to extend this? Going to and
well, GPUs will be around for a long time, just as CPUs will be around for a long time, and just as modems will be around for a long time. We are the largest visual computing company in the world. Visual computing is our soul. Visual computing is very important to us. It's our passion. If you're an expert in visual computing and this is the work that you want to do, you will find your way to NVIDIA.
Yes.
If you have a big problem to solve and visual computing is a great tool, you will seek out NVIDIA. And so I think visual computing is who we are, and it's our beginning.
Okay.
The world of computing has three very important corners. One of them is CPUs. There are many computers in the world where the best CPU is necessary. Data centers, for example, right? If you're running Windows and applications for legacy applications, x86 CPU is still the best. Workstations, we partner with Intel on every single workstation, and CPUs is still very important, and the GPU is very important. There are some marketplaces where connectivity is very important. Mobile connectivity is important. These three anchors, CPUs, modem, and GPU, are obviously very important part of the computer ingredient. There are some markets where the CPU is more important, some markets where the modem is more important, some markets where the GPU is more important. These three corners also has three companies that lead it. We're the leader in visual computing, Intel's the leader in CPUs, and Qualcomm is the leader in modems. We're all meeting somewhere in the middle sometimes. We have CPUs, we have modems. Qualcomm has CPUs, they have CPUs, they have GPUs. Intel has CPUs, GPUs, and modems. And we are meeting somewhere in the middle sometimes. Do you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. Each one of us, has a specialty, and we will be winners in that. We will be the dominant player in that specialty, and we will participate in the middle. Okay. So I don't see SoCs changing the need for independent CPUs or independent GPUs or independent modems and connectivity. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mara from Germany. You earlier mentioned that. You earlier mentioned that for x86 in the mobile space, the problem is that most applications adhere towards ARM. So if you build an ARM processor for the computing space, wouldn't you have just the same problem because everything is delivered to x86?
Yes, and that's the reason why. Did you guys hear Laura's question? It's an excellent question. So if we were to build an ARM processor, isn't the flip side problem the same? That this ARM processor would be very well received in computing worlds. And the answer is absolutely, and that's why we see that we have two ways of participating in the marketplace. One way is through a GPU, and that GPU will likely be connected to an x86 processor. However, whenever we build an SoC, the SoC will target markets where ARM is preferred. Either ARM is preferred or it doesn't matter. Okay, so for example, in a supercomputer, it doesn't matter what the instruction set is. That's why IBM is the largest supercomputer company in the world, and they use PowerPC. Let's see, Japan built the K2, and it's the fastest supercomputer in Japan, and it's based on Spark. And so it doesn't really matter for a supercomputer what the instruction set is, and in which case it doesn't matter whether we use ARM or x86. In some markets we'll work with Intel with x86. In some markets we'll put ARM and we'll build SoCs. So that's how we're going to address the entire spectrum of the computing market. Where x86 matters, we'll build GPUs. Where it doesn't matter or prefers ARM, we'll use SoCs.
Okay, so if you build processors for notebooks, one day it will be more into the space of like consumers and use Windows 8 and the applications that come with it.
My feeling is that Windows on ARM is going to start. It's going to trigger an avalanche of applications that run on HTML5. It no longer matters what the instruction set is going to be in the computing side. And frankly, Windows on ARM could be as beneficial to Intel in mobile as it is to ARM in PCs. Okay, and so frankly, it could go both ways, right? But I think the future is likely to be more and more and more like that. That it just doesn't matter which way it goes. At the moment, of course, if you were an enterprise customer, the PC and x86 is better for you. If you're a mobile customer, ARM is better for you. In 10 years' time, it might not be. We just don't know whether it's 6 or 7 or 3 or 5, but in 10 years, surely it won't.
One question, don't you think the app stores should solve the problem with the different architectures? The app stores in Windows and Android market, so then the big players will provide versions for each architecture in the market?
It's not a technological